So Dave is working on the last major project of the van before I do the van tour, and that is to get the heat in. There's a bit of trial and error with this. The directions, people have complained a lot about the directions, and yeah, they're pretty bad. They really don't tell you how to do anything. There's a few drawings and some words, but they're not great. So we're looking at videos as well. So we're gonna have to drill also through the flooring. I'm not sure if that's gonna be a whole square or just the holes. And then directly through the van itself to have the combustion tubes. There'll be an intake and outgoing air for the combustion part of it. And then the unit itself on the front and the back will have an intake of air from the cabin here and out into the cabin as heated air. One of the things we had to double check once we had it placed where the box is and where the heater's going is that there wasn't anything structural underneath the van. Obviously you don't want to hit any, brake lines, fuel lines, whatever else might be under there, or heavy seams or anything. So I'll try to film what I can. I'm working and we're taking the van out in 2 days, so he's trying to rush through this install. So I don't know how much I'll get.
So we have this Chinese diesel heater. I can't tell the model number. I guess you can see it's oil 12 volt. It must be what we have. It's the oil 12 volt. I hope it is, yeah. Looks like that's what we've got. And online on YouTube, it's just oh so easy. You just cut a few holes for these things, for the pipes, the inlet and the exhaust, and you got these little studs here, and yeah, it's all real easy. Yeah, no, it's not all real easy. We're putting it in an existing box that she's using as storage and a chair. So yesterday I tried to just drill holes through the box part of it and then worry about going down through the van later, and realize that we're dealing with 3/4 inch wood, and your studs are barely like 3/4. I think they're 1.25 inches total. This wonderful little exhaust tube, which goes right here, has a really handy dandy little clip. Cheap ass clip, by the way. I would highly recommend buying better quality clips from Lowe's or Home Depot. But after you get this thing all put in there, your mounting bracket has to go on first, and then you have to mysteriously find a way to hook this bracket up while you're surrounded with wood all the way around. So I'm gonna peck away at it. I've built another template, and I'm gonna set this piece of wood in the bottom of the box. I'm gonna mount the heater to this piece of wood, and then I'm gonna mount this piece of wood to the inside of the box, and I'm going to compartmentalize this so that this heater is there's going to be some shelving here that's going to just isolate this. I'll give it some breather holes so it has air for the fresh air intake, and then the rest of this will be her storage. Once I can get the heater mounted to this, I'll figure out how to get the exhaust and intake pipes down through the box, and then I'm going to figure out how to get them down through the van floor. So that's where I'm at now.
Oh no, there is yet another hole in my van. Dave is planning on trying to router the fuel line, a little place it can run along the bottom of the box so it doesn't have to go outside and back in.
Okay, so here is a follow-up on the diesel heater install. I've got the diesel heater mounted in Tina's chair box. This will go in the van. I'll show you when I'm all done where it goes. We've got the vent pipe out, and when it's all said and done, after I get it bolted into the van, the heater will be separated from the storage compartment by this little panel here. I mounted the fuel filter first in line with the gas tank. So it'll come from the gas tank into the fuel filter, and then it goes through that little hose there and into the fuel pump. And then from into the fuel pump, it goes into the diesel heater. There's the fuel line right there. I routed a little groove so that I didn't have to have this fuel line go all the way outside the van and then come back in the van. So by having that little router groove there, that makes it so this will still sit flush with the floor. No pressure on the fuel line. We've got our fresh air intake here. We've got our hot here. And what you're seeing here is some high temperature sleeving that I've put on so that the heat transfer from the exhaust pipe won't go through and cook the boards when it's going through the board. We've got plenty of clearance down under here, so I'm not really worried about that. We will check it after we've run it a few times. I'll pop this thing up and just look and make sure we're not getting any heat issues. Decided on the passenger side, right in front of where our bed is, there's a little channel underneath the van that allowed me to be able to drop the unit down in here, and her bench seat will still fit right in this spot. Everything will be just the same. She just lost a little bit of storage for the diesel heater. I'll do a follow-up when it's all done. Oh, the gas can. What I did is I just took a little bit of the fuel line and I taped it to the little valve that goes in the bottom of the gas tank. Taping this fuel line to the little valve, I was able to stick the fuel line up through the gas can, tape the valve to it, and pull it back down through the hole I made so that it's easier to connect that valve if you're wondering how to do that. Sorry I don't have a video on it. There are other videos on YouTube that show how to fish the fuel line up through the fuel tank, hook it to the filler, and pull it back through. Yeah, you know, pretty simple to have everything all inside. I'm not so sure about having the gas tank where the heater is, because you've got all of these connections that you've got to make with the rubber hose where it goes to the fuel line. So that's a lot of connections, and mostly it's going to be my wife using this. But I tried to keep it as simple as possible by having everything just all nice and neat and mounted in one spot. All of her electrical is going to ride out here. I've already got a fuse box in the van that I'm going to hook into, so that's no problem. All right, next little video will be with it installed.
You can see the vent. The heater is done and installed, so we'll show you what it looks like now, and Dave's going to fire it up. Put this piece of styrofoam on top for more sound deadening, and I'll probably affix it to the top here. And here is the finished product.
No leaks because that line is marking it.
Yep, Dave marked a line here to make sure that this wasn't going to leak.
And I just press and hold the on button. And it started right now.
You can hear let's see if you can hear this. You can see the intake hole in the box that pulls in from the van. And this hole is for the electrical wires to run. Well, we ran into a small problem with our demonstration, and that is because it is too hot for the heater to want to turn on, which is fine. We heard it kick over. Did you hear it kick over? Hopefully. I'll show you what's under the van. So this is the exhaust. It has a muffler on it. And then you can see that black intake one is tucked up underneath. Oh, just some final thoughts on the heater. I don't think I would have been able to figure out how to install that thing in 2 days like Dave did. My timing probably would have been in the neighborhood of 2 weeks, trying to decipher what the manual that it came with was saying. And I did watch a few videos myself because originally I intended on doing this install myself. A lot of conflicting instruction out there. There are so many different Chinese diesel heaters. They're usually pretty much the same, but there are slight differences in the way that they look. So that makes it a little harder for someone where that just doesn't come. It's not my second nature to figure that sort of thing out. I do think it's really funny that the entire reason we put electrical in the van at all was because I decided that once I was researching the buddy heater, which is what I was going to use to begin with, that it puts in too much condensation, and I decided a Chinese diesel heater would be the better way to go to avoid that sort of issue. So we put the electrical in just for the heater to begin with, All the other things that are electrical were afterthoughts, like, oh, well, since we're putting electrical in anyway, we might as well add this. But in the long run, the heater was the last thing that went in. It is still pretty warm. We haven't needed to use it, and I'm sorry I couldn't really show it. We're still figuring out how to set the temperature, but the temperature right now is set on the thermostat so that it is just, I mean, I think it's like probably 85 degrees in here right now, so I'm going to get out as soon as I finish this video. But that was the heater install, and then I've got one more little install that's kind of unique, but I think a really great idea, so I'll put that here next. I have a small and simple task for tonight. So water can drip down and fill up the screw holes. Let me see if I can turn the light on. Fill up the screw holes in here and rust your screws out. So I got these Van Nipples from ProMaster Only. You can see those are kind of rusty in there, and you can see like those are not, because those fill with water. They pool right up. So right now they are dry. I'm going to swab around with a couple Q-tips just to make sure, and then I will install these Van Nipples. Rust, but no water. That will seal that nicely, and it'll keep the water from pooling in there and rusting these before their time. Problem solved. All right, that was kind of a funny product, but a really useful product. And if you haven't watched ProMaster's Only videos, I suggest you go check his videos out. They're extremely informative and also very entertaining. So that is all we have for this van build. The next thing up for the van, I'll probably release a quick video on the cost breakdown and the weight after the build. And then the next thing up will be a full van tour. I will not say the van's 100% done. There are still some things that will definitely be done, some finishing touches, but a mostly done van tour, I think, is it's about time for that.